On this edition of Cronkite Sports Report, a professional racer blazes his own trail.
The coach behind this viral high school dance team.
The delicate balance between coaching and parenting.
A world champion pilot flies high in Arizona.
Athletes dodging their way to glory.
And a wheelchair basketball program that goes beyond the court.
These stories coming your way now on Cronkite Sports Report. Hello and welcome to Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Brady Klein.
And I'm Madison Carter. As student journalists at ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, we look to bring you unique sports stories with connections in Arizona. We begin today with the story of recovery. A serious mistake in life is something that can send many into a downward spiral. But
Cronkite News reporter Scotty Gange introduces us to a man who perseveres and reaches for the mountaintop every single day.
Okay, Google. Take me to Camelback Mountain.
How do you start your day?
All right, Camelback Mountain. Let's go.
No, let's rephrase that.
All right.
Start your day like Jeremy Ogle.
Camelback Mountain.
Let's go. Every morning, the 31-year-old summits the 2,700-foot mountain.
For me, it's a good thing. You start your day with just positivity, and it carries throughout the day.
For a guy who earns a living through professional racing, Jeremy doesn't waste his time. Both before and after his hike, he delivers food from the mobile app Postmates for extra cash. But his daily exercise doesn't end at the top of the mountain. From Camelback to the inside of this gym, Jeremy is what some would call a physical marvel. But his workout routine goes far beyond just building muscle.
I like to inspire people to aspire to be a better them, because I truly believe that the best and most inspirational thing that you can do is to be yourself.
From the outside, Jeremy's life could be described as an upward climb.
Morning.
But for the guy that can bench press 100 pounds and deadlift as much as 345, Ogle turned a life-changing mistake into an opportunity.
I had a blood alcohol level at the hospital of 0.274, which, as you know, is above 3 times the legal limit.
In 2015, Jeremy collided with a car as he rode his motorcycle home after a night out drinking. He suffered nerve damage in his spine, leaving his left arm numb and paralyzed. Eventually, he decided to amputate it.
Not everyone is lucky as to me to be 4 years later minus 1 arm and life 1,000 times better.
Since the accident, he's won a National Para-Spartan race, 2 National Paralympic Team USA medals for track and field, and just to rub it in, he ran a marathon this past March.
I mean, I could even probably sum it up to one of the biggest challenges is that people think that I have it harder than other people.
While the last 4 years have been full of physical accomplishments for Jeremy, his growth mentally has been far more important.
I've always been depressed. I spent 31 years being negative and angry.
In his 20s, Ogle says he struggled with substance abuse, but now he hopes to help others on their path, as he did for himself.
You know, my story isn't a sad one.
Jeremy's life has not been a walk in the park. It's been an uphill battle, and a difficult one at that. And as I, or rather anyone, would peel off to take a break right about now, Jeremy never could, as his daughter Eloise was born 3 months after his accident.
Because Eloise is the peak of Jeremy's life.
What? This is the best part?
With her mother out of the picture, Jeremy has full custody. But for a single father who goes by the nickname Arm Solo, Jeremy is as far away from alone as you can be.
My life is 100 times better than what it was. It actually has purpose and value now.
Jeremy's love for his adorable 4-year-old has been the ultimate fuel to live a healthy life filled with joy.
When she was a baby, he used to change her diaper with his mouth. And we were like, how does he do that? And she just lay there and let him do it.
Eloise,
can look at my muscles.
just like her dad, is strong. So, how do you start your day? Now, it's different for everyone, but learn from Jeremy, because he would tell you what really matters is to make it matter.
I will see you on the way down.
From Phoenix, Scotty Gange, Cronkite Sports Report.
We now head to southern Arizona, where Walden Grove High School's packed dance team has become an internet sensation.
Reporter Lamar Smith visited the group and the coach who makes it all happen.
Whether it's following the yellow brick road, capturing the golden snitch, or saving the world from Thanos, the Walden Grove Pack Dance Team's homecoming performances are a viral sensation. Their last 3 combined, more than 19 million views on YouTube, including nearly 4 million with their Avengers performance. The anchor of it all, dance teacher and coach, Christy Lopez.
One thing that I would want people to know is that our coach is behind everything. They see us in our dance videos and they see us perform, but no, we couldn't do it at all without our coach.
Despite being YouTube sensations and reigning state champs, Coach Lopez says funding the program is a struggle. She says September's Avengers performance cost nearly $5,000 for paint, props, costumes, and other supplies.
We get nothing, so every year on top of everything that the team's doing, we have to fit in fundraising hours and activities, and we do that on Saturdays or Sundays or really late at night after practice.
Many kids on the team have never danced before coming to Walden Grove.
I joined the team freshman year, and everything I learned was from Miss Lopez. Didn't know how to dance. I had a little rhythm, but she really helped mold me and grow me into the dancer I am today.
Coach Lopez has been dancing for 30 years and danced professionally before becoming the Walden Grove dance teacher when the school opened up 9 years ago.
Parents didn't understand it, schools didn't understand it, the district didn't understand it. They couldn't figure out what I was trying to do. Now everybody knows, but in the beginning it was very hard. I felt like I was just crashing into walls everywhere I turned. It was challenging.
Amber Dedamore was one of Lopez's first dancers and is now an assistant coach. She remembers just how hard it was to build the program.
They start from the beginning, going to media, and then going to dancing, but we had no dance experience at all. So to see all the growth with the viral videos and them winning state championships 5 times consecutively is a huge deal.
This place used to be a storage room, but now it's home to the Walden Grove High School Pack Dance Team. And it's a place where they feel they can express themselves without judgment.
Yeah, it's definitely a release. When I walk into the dance room, I just forget everything else that's going on and I just focus on dance, and it's really nice. It's definitely an escape from high school.
The Avengers dance and set took over 2 months to film. Despite the praise for all their viral dances, it isn't about the fame.
I feel like I can be myself and let go of everything that's going on right now and just dance it out, I guess.
But at the end of the day, they're learning discipline, hard work. They're learning patience. They're learning how to, come to class on time, keep their grades up, and whenever they're accomplishing those things, I just know that 20 years from now they'll be successful in whatever they do.
In Sawarita, Lamar Smith, Cronkite Sports Report.
Coming up next on Cronkite Sports Report.
Having your parents as some of your coaches is fun for some, but it isn't always easy.
Welcome back to Cronkite Sports Report. The relationship between parent and child when that parent is also the child's coach can present a difficult dynamic.
As Kiana Wolink explains, it can be rewarding, but also has its challenges.
For volleyball player Brooke Wilson, being coached by her mother Christy for 3 seasons was just enough to strengthen their relationship without damaging their bond.
Sometimes it can be hard because she'll say I did good, but then she gives me a bunch of things I need to work on. So it's not a normal, you did a good job.
We made some great friends. It was great. I mean, we had an amazing time. Until she got to about 11, and then it was okay, it's time to move on. I was coaching all the other girls and not really her anymore.
Wintergreen research found that 6 in 10 children, ages 6 to 12, regularly participate in team sports in the U.S. Those kids need coaches, but when you add coach to the title of mom or dad, it can be a challenge.
When you are a parent and you're a coach, your struggle is with being there for your child and being there for the group of children. And so whenever those are competing interests, it definitely complicates the relationship.
Unfortunately, coaching your own child could lead to conflicts at the field and at home, says Scott Brooks, Director of Research for Global Sport Institute.
Parents can want to be involved far longer than their children want to be involved. There's no break, right? Their parent is always their coach. even when they're not talking about sport.
As a parent coaching her own child, Christy Wilson said she sometimes felt like she had to overcompensate.
You have to be almost harder on your own kid if you want to be respected as a coach.
Sometimes kids of parents who are coaching don't like all of the attention. They know that others think they get favorable treatment, so sometimes they play down.
Adding to the challenge, money. According to Wintergreen Research, youth sports is now a $17 billion industry in the U.S. In addition, families can spend upwards of $1,000 per month on sports for their children, according to a survey by TD Ameritrade.
When parents are paying that kind of money, when you have to pay in order for your kid to play, there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. And it's hard not to remind your kid when you've made that kind of investment.
Navigating this new dimension of the parent-child relationship can be difficult, but it is distinguishing the difference between parent and coach that can make this experience successful.
The best way to maintain a balance is to leave what happens on the sport field at the sports field, and to really have a clear boundary of when I am of where sports begin and end. Because you don't want your kid to feel like how they perform on the field is going to impact how you love.
Regardless of the issues that could arise from these complexities, for some families, the benefits can exceed the negative effects.
The time, you just can't, that's just priceless. Like, you can't get that back.
When everything is settled and the game clock runs out, the wins don't matter because being a parent comes first. As happened when Brooke was competing in a volleyball tournament and needed Coach Christy to just be mom.
I hurt my thumb, and she took me to the emergency room instead of going out and playing the game with the team, and I just felt more important at that time.
Bottom line, the relationship between parent and child will always be far greater than any outcome.
Parents often are well-intentioned, really want what's best for their kid, believe in their kid more than the kid believes in themselves. That's the job of a parent, that unconditional love.
In Phoenix, Kiana Walling, Cronkite Sports Report.
Next up here on Cronkite Sports Report,
a world champion pilot lives and trains right here in Arizona.
Plus, how dodgeball is taking over gyms across the country. Hidden in the hills of Eloy is a world champion pilot, Kerby Chambliss.
The open airs and scenic mountains make Eloy the perfect place for Kerby to perfect his craft.
Number 10, Chambliss, you're cleared into the track. Smoke on.
Kerby Chambliss, regarded as one of the greatest acrobatic pilots of all time, he lives his life in the sky. And since he was a kid, spending his days in the air is all he has ever wanted to do.
It was always about airplanes, there's pictures of me when I was 2 years old and I'm dragging an airplane around, and I wanted to be a pilot. I was never the guy that wanted to be the garbage man, the policeman, the fireman, any of that. I just wanted to be a pilot, so I just had to figure out how to do it.
The beginning of Kerby's path to being a pilot didn't start in the cockpit. It started on the tarmac. Although Chambliss spends most of his time in the sky, he didn't start his career by flipping planes. He used to flip bags.
I'd thrown bags at Southwest. I was a ramp agent there, worked in operations, and so, I knew a few people that probably helped, but I had to get the experience and I had to have the ratings, and, I went and got a 737 type rating and, became a pilot for Southwest.
Working in the underbody of a 150,000-pound 737 is much different than sitting in the cockpit of the Edge 540 that Kerby races. To him, stepping out of the 737 and into the 540 is night and day.
Getting out of a school bus and driving a sports car. This is a Ferrari. Your imagination is the limitation. You cannot break this airplane in the air.
While many people like to sit at home and watch TV while they're not working, it seems like there isn't an off switch for Kerby Chambliss, who is always looking for that next rush of adrenaline.
Well, then I like to jump out of airplanes. So, I love to skydive. I always kid my wife because I started jumping. I started jumping when she was flying the jump planes, because I was like, there's no better reason to jump out of a perfectly good airplane than if your wife is flying it. But I'm just kidding, though.
As a competitor, Kerby raced for 13 seasons of the Red Bull Air Race Series. Collecting 10 wins and 32 podiums, he was a staple of the series. But on May 30th, 2019, it was announced that the series was no longer.
so many kids have come up to me and go, God, you know, I started flying because I saw you at the Red Bull Air Race and I saw it on TV and it was the coolest thing, or, you know, at an air show and all that. And that always makes me feel good. It makes me feel old, but it also makes me feel good.
And although the series ended, Kerby thinks that this can actually be a positive for those wanting to fly.
Like I say, it's the best time ever, you know, not only from being a pilot, but a mechanic and everything. There's so many opportunities in aviation.
As for Kerby's future in the air, he will continue to fly for Southwest and hopes that someone will resume the air racing series soon. In Eloy, Brady Klain, Cronkite Sports Report. We bounce from the sky down to the earth for the game of dodgeball.
Cronkite News reporter Yodit Wildegabriel caught up with the local league that has 4 of the best players in the country.
Dylan Clark Odin started playing dodgeball at a local Jump Street 5 years ago. He had no idea it would end up taking him around the world and turn him into a professional athlete.
I started probably like 2014, and then I made the U.S. team in 2016. So going to that just like changed my whole perspective on where the sport could go and where it's going.
According to U.S. Dodgeball, Dylan is one of an estimated 30,000 to 50,000 adults playing organized dodgeball, and 3,000 to 5,000 are participating regularly at a higher level.
It's not just like you stand there and you can catch or just stand there and throw. You have to be able to move, you have to be able to dodge, and so there's a lot of different elements that you can train for.
Dodgeball is growing locally in Phoenix because of leagues like Cactus Dodgeball, which was created for the public to sign up and play competitively. Here at Papago Elementary School, Cactus Dodgeball holds games every Tuesday.
I think people just need to watch us play. So I think that visual impact, especially in person, I think it translates the best that way. We have a lot of social media stuff happening with our league that players just love, and I know that people outside of dodgeball just love and are really getting involved in.
Speed, agility, and especially strategy play huge roles in the core benefits of dodgeball. Dylan impressed scouts in different competitive tournaments, landing him an invitation to a combine where he was narrowed down to one of the best players in the country, earning himself a spot on Team USA.
Even at our combines now, we have like speed drills, throwing drills. We have to go on the rush to grab the ball. Like, we have times and everything for it.
Andrew Ketchum started playing dodgeball at trampoline parks and was recruited to start playing competitively.
Team USA is the ultimate honor for me. It's what I work for all year long. I put in all the dodgeball time, essentially, that I do. It's all working toward the goal, which is the U.S. team.
When you watch it, you see the real athleticism that it takes to play. And we have athletes who would be great athletes in any sport. And so when you're watching, you see, again, all those skills. They're jumping, they're diving, they're running fast, they're throwing hard, and those are all the things that you need for pretty much any sport.
U.S. Dodgeball hopes to one day bring the sport to the Olympic Games. In Phoenix, Yodit Wildegabriel, Cronkite Sports Report.
Coming up next on Cronkite Sports Report.
The empowerment that comes with wheelchair basketball.
Ability 360 in Phoenix gives people of all ages and different abilities a chance to play competitive sports and power their self-confidence.
Reporter Serena Perez talks with members of Varsity 360 about how youth wheelchair basketball impacted their lives.
I was born with mild cerebral palsy, and it's really affected me all throughout my life. There's been places in my life where I've been an outcast, but there's a lot of places where I've been accepted.
So I was born with a rare syndrome called Klippert-Trenaunay-Weber syndrome, and that led my feet to get swollen. And so as I was growing up, my feet got swollen and it got to the point where I couldn't walk. So my parents decided to amputate my feet at the age of 2.
8 years old, I was diagnosed with a rare form of muscular dystrophy. And essentially, I've been using a chair part-time since I was about 9 years old, and then full-time as a teenager.
All different stories, all different disabilities, but what bonds each of them is the family and acceptance they found within the game of wheelchair basketball.
When you're a kid, you don't want to be different, whether you have a disability or not.
Robert Reed understands the adversity of adapting to a wheelchair and shares how wheelchair basketball provides inclusion.
When I found wheelchair basketball, it really changed the game for me. It made it so that I had an outlet And I always kind of felt like I wasn't like the other kids. And when I was able to play sports, it made me feel like I was just like they are.
14 years later, Robert Reed is now head coach of Varsity 360, a youth wheelchair basketball team at Ability 360 in Phoenix. Inside these walls are where players from the ages of 12 until they graduate high school can compete not only against their peers, but against their inner struggles.
Basketball's really helped, I guess, my confidence in myself. Some of us are amputees, some of us are born with a disability, some of us develop a disability. It's all different, and we're all a family.
The camaraderie of just wheelchair sports and adaptive athletics as a whole is something I love because we're all there for each other, we're all there to compete, but in the end we're all family and friends.
There are more opportunities that come from youth wheelchair basketball, like the chance to be a college athlete, something Hernandez himself didn't know could happen, but is now attending the University of Arizona on a sports scholarship and a part of their wheelchair basketball team.
Like I was just talking to earlier, one of the players, he wants to go to college to play wheelchair basketball. And he was asking me questions. I just told him, you gotta put in the work.
Another youth career will be coming to an end this season, and although Hagen Cakes doesn't know what's next, he says this.
I want our team to have that family dynamic no matter who's on the team.
And if you're hesitant to be a part of an adaptive sports team,
just don't be afraid. There's many resources out there for disabled people. I know Ability 360 is here to help you. Wherever you're from, I know there's resources out there to help you.
In Phoenix, Serena Perez, Cronkite Sports Report.
According to the University of Arizona's Director of Adaptive Athletics, 11 schools compete in the Intercollegiate Division of National Wheelchair Basketball Association.
Well, that'll do it for today's episode for the Cronkite Sports Report.
Thanks for tuning in.